Behind every successful child, there's a mother who silently gave up her dreams to build theirs. This is the story of Mira, a mother whose love knew no limits and whose sacrifices spoke louder than words. A story that will touch your heart and remind you of the true power of a mother's love. Welcome to Learn and Success, where stories aren't just told, they are felt. A mother's silent sacrifice. The monsoon clouds hung low over the small village of Rampur, casting a quiet gloom over its mud-walled homes and narrow lanes. In one of these modest homes lived Mira, a widow in her early 40s with her only son, Arav. Her husband had died when Arav was just 5, leaving Mira to navigate the struggles of life alone. She had never remarried. Her world revolved around her son, who was the last connection to the love of her life. Mira worked as a maid in 4 houses. Every morning before the sun peeked over the horizon, she would wake up, prepare a simple breakfast for Arav, and quietly leave for work, often returning home only after dusk. Her hands were rough from years of scrubbing floors. Her back ached from carrying heavy loads. But her heart remained tender, because everything she did was for Arav. Arav, now 17, was in his final year of school and an exceptionally bright student. He dreamed of becoming a doctor, not just for the prestige, but because he had seen too much suffering in their village. His classmates often mocked his worn-out clothes and broken sandals, but he endured it all silently. He knew his mother's sacrifices, though she never spoke of them. One evening, as the rain lashed against the window panes and thunder cracked the sky, Mira returned home, soaked and coughing. Arav rushed to her with a towel and made her sit near the fire. "Ma, you're drenched! Why didn't you wait for the rain to stop?" Mira smiled weakly, brushing her son's hair. "Dinner had to be made, Beta. You have school tomorrow." "But you're sick. You shouldn't be working so hard." She simply cupped his face. "If I don't work, how will I send you to college? You're going to be a doctor, remember?" Tears welled up in Arav's eyes. He had heard about a scholarship exam that could cover his medical college expenses. But it was in the city, a place far away and unknown. He hesitated to tell Mira, fearing the burden it might place on her. But Mira found out anyway. One of her employer's sons mentioned the exam, and Mira's heart raced with hope. That night, while Arav was asleep, Mira sat under the dim light, reading the leaflet she had borrowed. The exam fee was $800, a fortune for her. She had just $200 saved after months of skipping meals and wearing the same torn saree. But she decided then, no matter what, she would get the money. The next day, Mira went to a pawn shop and handed over her gold bangles, the last piece of her wedding jewelry. "These were your wedding gifts," the shopkeeper said, hesitating. "They're just metal now. My son's future is more valuable," Mira replied firmly. With the money, she paid the exam fee and gave the rest to Arav. "You're going to the city, Beta. Take this and make us proud." Arav was shocked. "Where did you get this, Ma?" "I had some savings," she lied. But the truth came out when one of her employers asked why she wasn't wearing her bangles anymore. Arav overheard. That night, he sat beside Mira silently. "You sold your bangles for me, didn't you?" She didn't answer, just continued sewing his torn school shirt. "I don't want to give the exam," he said suddenly. She looked up, startled. "Why not?" "Because it's too much. You've already given up everything for me." Mira held his face. "Listen to me, Arav. When you were born, I didn't know how I'd raise you alone. I didn't know how I'd feed you. But I made a promise to myself that no matter what, you would never feel like you lacked anything. My sacrifices are not burdens, they are blessings. If you don't chase your dreams, everything I've done will mean nothing. Her voice cracked with emotion, and tears rolled down her cheeks. Arav hugged her tightly. I promise, Ma, I'll make you proud. Months passed. Arav gave the exam and cleared it with top marks. He got the scholarship. When he left for college, Mira stood at the bus stop, waving as tears fell silently from her eyes, a mix of pride and pain. Years went by. Mira continued her work, always refusing to take help from others. She didn't tell anyone that her son was now studying in a prestigious medical college in the city. She didn't want sympathy. She wanted respect. Then one day, a black car rolled into the village. People gathered curiously as a young man stepped out wearing a white coat. His eyes searched for the small mud house near the old banyan tree. When Mira opened the door, she saw her son, tall, handsome, and with eyes full of tears. Ma, he said, falling to his knees, I'm a doctor now. Mira touched his head, her fingers trembling. You did it, Beta. No, he said, holding her hands. We did it. He opened his bag and took out a small box. Inside was a new pair of gold bangles, just like the ones she had sold. These are for the queen who raised me. Mira couldn't hold back her tears. Her sacrifices had finally come full circle. And in that moment, she knew. Every hardship, every pain, every silent cry had been worth it. Because a mother's love is not in the words she says, but in the sacrifices she makes, silently, endlessly, and unconditionally. A mother's love is quiet, deep, and endless, felt in every sacrifice, every sleepless night, and every silent prayer. Mira's story reminds us that behind every success, there's often an unseen hero, a mother who gave up her world to build ours. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Learn and Success for more emotional and inspiring stories. Let's celebrate the love that often goes unnoticed, one story at a time.